Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Viren Shetty, co-founder and CEO at PlusMargin. And what we're building is a platform that uses AI to replace copywriters for short-form marketing language. Every month, there are billions of messages which are sent out across digital channels to drive acquisition, conversion, and retention of users. Now, interestingly enough, behind each one of these messages, there's a very important decision which has gone on, which is the marketer who's actually writing this piece of copy has thought, what is the most optimal form of sentence structures, words, and phrases I should write that is going to generate the highest click-through rate for my campaign? And these decisions are one of the most important decisions in a marketing campaign. This is a tweet which was sent out by Sam Altman, the partner of Y Combinator, recently, where he said that when Facebook changed their text from advertise to create an ad, their click-through rate went up by 40%. So changing the words, phrases, and sentence structures really makes a huge difference in marketing campaigns. However, there are literally millions of ways you can communicate one message. For example, you could say, make it yours before gone, buy now before it runs out, few pieces left, buy now, etc. I can go on. These are just 8 variations. But copywriting now is still based on gut feel, because there are millions of variations you can churn out, but it's physically impossible for any copywriting team, even if it's at Amazon, to actually churn it out. And there's no visibility on why these campaigns have performed well. Was it because I put exclamation mark? Is it because of these words and phrases I used? There's literally no platform which actually tells you that. And the existing marketing tech companies, such as Salesforce, Adobe, etc., are really good at predicting right person, right product, right place, right time. But what we feel is right message is broken, and that's what we're here to fix. We have a bold and pretty crazy vision for our PlusMargin, which is to power every single word of marketing copy on the internet. And we believe that the company that actually does that is going to be a multi-billion-dollar company. So there are 5 core aspects of any message. So for example, there's action-based, which is predominantly a call to action. There's functional, which is more description. There's linguistic, is it bold, is it what kind of punctuation is using, in underline, etc. And the syntax, which is how you structure the sentence. And the last part is a psychological element of it. And in behavioral psychology, there are about 12 core principles on how do you persuade people to do pretty much anything. For example, there's social proof, there's scarcity, there's authority, and so on. Research has shown that each individual tends to be more prone to one type of persuasion tactic. So in our quest to create the best possible machine-generated message, we first have to predict the user's psychological profile, and then we have to use machine learning to actually generate all the possible variations of copy, and then use our algorithms to actually predict and rank what is the most optimal copy for each single marketing campaign. And then, of course, as the messages are pushed out, we continuously learn using a neural network feedback loop. So as I mentioned earlier, the first step is to how do you actually create psychological profiles of users. So this is our first product. So right now, what we do is that we help e-commerce sites increase conversions using different types of persuasion tactics. So for example, if you're prone to maybe scarcity, you may see selling fast. And maybe if I'm prone to authority as a persuasion tactic, I may see best choice. So as you go through the site, we continuously learn on what kind of psychological tactics you're susceptible to, and then we display this content on site. And 33 people bought this. That's an example of social proof. How we do this is actually we use a combination of reinforcement learning and unsupervised learning to predict psychological profiles. We have a bunch of different case studies, and we have proven our product at scale. So these are not SME clients we work with. These are really, really large companies we have worked, and we have increased revenue between 20 to 30%. And I'm happy to announce that we also signed out one of the world's largest fashion e-retailers 2 weeks back. So our first phase is really just focus on one vertical, which is just e-commerce. So we can generate content across on-site, emails, ads, and so on. The key part here is that we don't actually compete with any of the existing vendors a retailer would use. We just plug in and integrate with them. And then phase 2, we can expand after 10 million ARR, we can expand to other verticals. For example, how does Angry Birds persuade people to buy coins in their game? How can American Express write better copy in their ads or emails? How can New York Times write better subject lines, content subjects that will actually generate the highest click-through rate, and so on. So it's pretty much any business which pushes out some form of marketing content. We want to be the platform which actually predicts and powers that content. We have a great team. My background is in applied math. I was recently featured on the Forbes 30 and 30 Enterprise Tech list. I'm a math Olympiad medalist. I studied on a special program at Cambridge, did postgrad and PhD level math modules when I was in high school. We have Melvrick, who's my co-founder. He's from SAP Consulting. He has built several successful businesses before and scaled up to several $1 million in revenue. Jeffrey is probably the smartest guy I know. He builds our entire AI stack. He started programming at 5. He's a child prodigy. He hacked into the Singapore government at 12, built image recognition software for the Singapore Army at 15, et cetera, et cetera. And then we have Kamarul, who's our head of engineering, who was the former chief software architect at Compare Asia Group, which is Asia's largest financial marketplace. We have Matt, who was a full-stack developer at DataNice, which is Google Ventures-backed company. And then we have Thomas, who's helping us with our sales. So Thomas co-founded a company called Trustpilot, which is about at 80 million ARR right now. They've raised about 120 million. And he was their first VP of sales, and he helped them scale from 0 to 20 million ARR. And we also have a full-time psychologist who I couldn't fit onto the slide, unfortunately. And we are also getting one of the founding members of a company which was recently acquired by Alibaba. So yeah, I'm Viren Shetty. We're looking for crazy investors who believe in our crazy vision. We're also looking for companies to work with. Please take down my email, and I'm happy to talk to you later. Thank you.